Going on to you, Cancer Crabs. So you have the Queen of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the Knight of Cups. You also have the Six of Cups. This is pretty much a very good way of reading it. Look, a lot of you Cancers, you are kind of kidding yourselves when it comes to this past connection that you just seem to have gotten up on out of fairly recently or recently. The two of you were being delusional about how the two of you could actually work out. You have the Page of Cups. You were being very optimistic about you being able to actually work things out with this person. And the Knight of Cups represents, and they pretty much were doing their own thing anyway, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say that, but they were doing their own thing anyway. And you were very much so overlooking that. But the question comes is, did the two of you actually really know each other? 9 chances out of 10, the answer is no, you probably didn't. You know, the two of you, let me rephrase that. You did know each other, but you were denying what you already knew. You knew that each other wasn't really going to actually be able to make this thing work, right? You're denying who they are. They're dysfunctional. And the two of you are denying that fact. So now when you decided to get away from them, right? When you Cancers decided to get away from them, you decided, you know what? That was it. You're not going to stick around them. You're not going to be around them. Why would you want to hang around them? Now, the Six of Cups, they're coming back. They're trying to say what's up. They're trying to see if you Cancer Crabs are okay, what you're doing, how are you? They're trying to reach out. The King of Swords now represents, though, right? The King of Swords now represents you Cancers are going to be very much so ice cold, in the sense that you gotten away from these dysfunctional, self-destructive people. You're not going back to them, because if you were, then obviously this is you squandering your value that you could be actually giving to somebody else that would be higher value than them, to a dysfunctional individual. So it would squander or lower your own value doing that. My neck. So now the Nine of Wands now represents, so a lot of you are very much so leaving that behind. Very much so. There's way more value out there waiting for you in the first place. And you Cancers know that. So you're not going to spend too much time hanging around with this individual that wants to come back, because one of the best things that you could have done was the Ace of Swords, giving up. You know, people don't, this is why it is that in the Art of War, they talk about how you need to pick your battles, meaning that you have to know when and where it's a good idea for you to put in effort, and that trying to put in effort with dysfunctional people that's kind of doing their own thing in the streets, even though, you know, cheating and ripping and running around and doing their own thing and getting yourselves in dysfunctional relationships, and you're trying to make it work with this person, it's not going to work, right? How could it work? It's not going to work. So a lot of you Cancers have to understand that one of the best things, and you're even understanding it yourself. This is not just me telling it to you. This is you coming to your own conclusion that this was a very good idea, was for you to put down a sword, stop fighting that battle, stop, you know, sometimes, and this is something that I was trying to talk about in the strategic humility sometimes, right? And this is one thing a lot of people have a problem with. This is how it is that you know that some people, Cancer Crabs, are too stupid for their own good. They're so smart to the point where they're stupid. And somebody actually articulated it better than me as far as words is concerned. Shout outs to that person. They know who they are. But this person basically said, right, and I'm paraphrasing, that sometimes in order for you to actually win in life, you have to be able to take strategic losses and understand that they're not really losses, because ultimately, in factuality, they really don't mean anything. And that's the same thing when it comes to business. That's the same thing when it comes to relationships. That's the same thing when it comes to anything else. When it comes to That's what being humble is ultimately about. It's about understanding, right, that what would be the point of you, Cancer Crabs, trying to convince a person who is dysfunctional, right, down to every cell in their body? Why would you expect these people to now start to do right? And then now you got to waste your time, wasting your money, wasting your effort, more importantly, and your time, more importantly, trying to convince and convert this person to being a decent, upstanding, upright, integral person. It's not going to happen. So you realize that it's time for you to actually put the sword down. And that was a very good thing for you to do, because now you stopped hanging out with this person. You freed up your life to now actually be able to get to know somebody the correct way. That's what the Seven of Pentacles represents. You want this relationship where you can call yourself and this person a family, right? But at the same time, people really don't take into consideration. This is why it is that the games be ultimately having people end up being very biased, very much so by themselves, is because this ideology that you're going to tell somebody, for example, that you already seeing somebody, but then the two of you will exchange numbers. I'm not doing that. That's stupid. You know why? Because a person that's on point, and let me give you some game, Cancer. A person that's on point and that really does want to be in a relationship, if they have any kind of decency, wink, wink, hint, hint, they're not going to want to be with somebody that tells them that they have somebody already. You know why? Because they're looking for their own. They're looking for someone who is single and can say that and embraces them being single, but is also looking for a functional, good, integral relationship. Not someone who's going to play games and maybe lie and say that they're in a relationship. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. This is part of the reason why a lot of people don't end up meeting someone that's a good match for them, because they can't eat, because if they're telling the truth, they're willing to cheat on the same person that they are so linked up with. If they're lying, that still causes the confusion. And the point that I'm trying to make here with you Cancers is, you Cancers are doing it the correct way, in the sense that you realize, no. It's none of this. You're like fully linked in with somebody. It's not just talking. It's not just you getting to know them. It's, no, y'all, you got somebody. It's supposed to be an established bond. Because when you're playing the field, none of the relationships are established bonds. That's the thing. None of the relationships are supposed to be established bonds. The person that you have created an established bond with, that's the person who you go with, and then you excommunicate the rest. So the thing about it is that the Five of Swords and the Six of Swords now is about how, since that's the case, you have to take it into consideration that maybe you Cancer Crabs were too good for the losers. But don't try to convince the losers of why it is that they should be taking you back. You're just doing yourself a disservice. That's what the Five of Swords is talking about. You have to be with the Six of Swords, in a sense that go after people who are not low-hanging fruit, who are not dysfunctional people that you can just get with for the short time being, just because they're willing to accept anyone that's offering, but then they're going to essentially revert back to how they were, because they're not built for relationships anyway. You want to actually go through the extra mile so that you can find someone that's a good match for you. Let's clarify the Six of Swords. Six of Wands, Four of Swords, Lovers, and then you have the Knight of Swords to clarify the Six of Swords. Right. And the Six of Wands and the Four of Swords represents just that. You will move forward. If a person is limp, if a person is do nothing, if a person is dysfunctional, if a person is not up to snuff, not up to par, you are going to leave them alone, because what kind of a relationship is that? It's a mismatch. And then you Cancers also have the Lovers and the Knight of Swords, which represents you're looking for the real deal, but you're not going to be able to find it messing around with somebody who's dysfunctional and don't want to do anything. You're going to have to go after people that are like this. They are coming after you. They want you. They are going to show it that they want you. They're going to tell you that they want you, and they're going to show you that they want you. And they're going to actually take steps to step it up in the sense of to have you around and to move towards a relationship, right? So that's pretty much it for now. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel.